All right, the witness has been sworn. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I just want to make sure I have audio.
You do.
Great.
All right, are you on your phone?
I am on my phone. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, Ms. Jackson.
Hi.
Okay. You were employed at Walgreens in November of 2016, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was your job title at Walgreens?
Cashier?
Okay. And are you still currently employed at Walgreens?
No.
As a cashier, your job duties included managing a cash register, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as I recall, your job duties would include cleaning up the space around the front end of the store where the cash registers were located?
Yes.
Okay. Was it your responsibility as a cashier when you were on duty to make sure that the floor around the front end of the store where the checkout stands were kept clean?
Yes.
Okay. That would be both on the surfaces as well as on the floor, is that correct?
Correct. The surfaces of the counter and the floor where the customers were walking through.
Okay. And it was your responsibility to make sure that the areas would be free of any safety hazards, is that correct?
Yes.
And you believed when you were working there that a dirty floor surface would be a potential slip hazard, is that correct?
Well, yes.
And you also believed that glitter on the floor could also have been a potential safety hazard that would require you to keep the floor area clean, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you were working as the cashier on duty, who besides you would have had the responsibility to make sure that the area around your checkout stand was kept free of slip hazards?
I was the only one working the front at the time.
If you were the only one up at the front, if you were the only cashier on duty, would you be the only one then who would then be responsible for making sure that the floor surface was kept free of slip hazards?
Yes.
So is there anyone to whom you had to report if you were doing a certain chore, like cleaning up an area that had what you viewed to be debris or something that would be a safety hazard? Did you have to report that to anyone?
No.
Okay. Did you have to keep a record of it or anything like that?
No.
Now, did you ever have any meetings with any of your supervisors while working at Walgreens regarding safety?
No. No.
Would it be fair to say that the responsibilities to keep the area clean was something that you would do in your downtime?
Yes.
And you shared with us just moments ago that at the time of the incident on November 19, 2016, you were the only person at the checkout stands working at the time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When you would do a cleanup in front of the store, did you ever take any cones or put any barricades out to prevent customers from coming through that area so customers knew that you're cleaning and to not have to come through that area when you felt there was a need to sweep?
No. It was, yeah, no.
Okay. And you were the cashier on the evening when Miss Mulligan was at the Walgreens store and came through your checkout stand, correct?
Yes.
And you witnessed Miss Mulligan slipping at the Walgreens the night of the incident, isn't that correct?
No. No, I was checking out another customer, so I couldn't see.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to read page 41, lines 5 through 7 of Ms. Jackson's sworn testimony. May I publish that?
Is that from her deposition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a deposition is testimony that's given prior to trial. A court reporter is present. The witness is sworn to tell the truth, just as in a court of law. And so if this comes into evidence, you will be able to treat it just as if it was evidence that came into the courtroom. So any objection, Mr. Friedenthal?
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Hayes.
Thank you. Question. You witnessed Miss Mulligan slipping at Walgreens the night of the incident, correct? Answer. Yes. Now, do you recall on November 19, 2016, if the store had Christmas decorations out for sale?
Yes.
And do you recall that the holiday decorations, many of them had glitter on them? You recall that, true?
True. Yes.
And after she slipped, Deborah Mulligan pointed to what she slipped on, and you looked over the counter where she was pointing. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And what she was pointing to was dirt and debris and glitter, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And did you actually see the area of dirt and glitter when you looked over?
Yes.
And then you went to retrieve the broom and the dustpan to sweep it up, correct?
Yes.
And when you swept it up, was there clearly debris to be swept up, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And after you swept it up, you took it behind your counter to dispose of it in your trash can, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Jackson, I'd like you to take a look at Exhibit 4. If we could publish Exhibit 4.
There it is.
What is this document?
This is the statement that would have been filled out right after it happened, right? When she said she was hurt.
And is this your handwriting?
Yes, it is.
Would you please read the handwritten portion for the jury?
Yes, some of it is behind the screen, so let me just move. Okay. As customer came to the register, her foot slipped and she fell towards the soda shelf. She said she hurt a little, but she was okay. I called my manager.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Friedenthal, at this point in time, do you want to take her on as one of your own witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to do her direct going beyond the cross, just for expediency's sake.
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as I mentioned, when Ms. Jackson was first called, she would be considered an adverse witness for the plaintiff. She would be considered a witness for direct for the defense. So what's going to happen right now is Mr. Friedenthal is going to start his case in chief with Ms. Jackson. So he will be able to inquire as on direct. Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning, Ms. Jackson.
Good morning.
Just want to pick up on the issue of that last exhibit that you were shown
Sure.
by Ms. Hayes. Was the purpose of that entry in that exhibit to reflect what the customer told you, or putting down what you saw?
To reflect what the customer told me.
Okay. Also, just to be clear for the jury, you said you no longer work for Walgreens, correct?
Correct. I no longer work there.
Did you not, the fact that you don't work for Walgreens, did that have anything to do with this accident whatsoever?
No.
Okay. Now, going back to the date of the incident, Shanice Williams was the manager on duty, right?
Yes.
And did you feel like she was doing a good job and she was a competent manager?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was great.
Did she provide guidance for associates and cashiers like you to know what they were supposed to do while they were working?
Oh, yeah.
And as you sit here today, do you have any criticism, or can you think of any shortcomings in the training you received by Ms. Williams?
No.
As you think back to the day of the incident, do you think that you did anything wrong, Ms. Jackson?
No.
Do you feel like your job was that you weren't doing your job in the way it was supposed to be done?
I feel like I was doing my job. Yeah, the way it should be done. Yes, I do.
And do you feel that you were well trained by the leadership of store number 4127, which is the store I understand you worked at?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Now, I want you to think back. Did you ever remember going over safety topics with anyone at Walgreens?
But I don't recall.
Do you recall signing off on, I know it was a long time ago, but do you recall ever signing off on monthly safety topics that a manager provided to the Walgreens store team?
Oh, the sign, yeah, the sign off. Yes, sorry. Yes, I do remember that.
A
Sorry.
sign-in sheet.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And you would sign that sign-in sheet after you were given a certain topic or a certain lecture on an issue, right?
Yes. Sorry. Yes, I remember that now.
Okay. And you wouldn't lie about, you know, to this jury about having attended meetings that you really didn't attend, would you?
No.
And you wouldn't lie to this jury about signing off on reflecting that you attended certain meetings when you really didn't, would you?
No.
Okay. The customer accident investigation report for the incident involving Deborah Mulligan, you recall that, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And in there, it says that she said that she tripped in front of the cash register, correct?
Correct. She said that.
All right. And earlier you were asked, and a portion of your deposition was read concerning whether you actually saw the actual trip or stumble or whatever it was, that mechanism, whether you actually saw it with your own eyes or just saw something else. What's your recollection as you sit here today as to what you recall actually seeing in terms of the beginning of the trip?
So yeah, that was embarrassing to see that come up because I didn't see it from the beginning because I had moved to another register to help another customer. And then I, heard a commotion and looked up and saw like the tail end of it where she was like catching herself on the shelves.
All right. And did you actually, so what part of in that video or that in your mind when you saw this transpiring, what part of it did you actually first see? Was it when she was a couple steps from the water counter, water aisle, or was it where she was just coming out from behind the customer in front of you, or what?
Sorry, and it was a while ago. It was towards, I guess it was like towards the completion of the event, if that makes sense. Like I remember watching going, oh, I missed something. What happened?
Did you actually see the video at some point of the incident?
I have, yeah.
Okay, and you saw where her ankle kind of turned into the left before? Yeah. Did you actually see that at the time?
I did not.
Okay. All right. What drew your attention to the event when you were helping the customer?
Just, there was like a fast motion and, I mean, it's just something you catch out of the corner of your eye, Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell the jury in your own words what it was that you saw on the floor after Ms. Mulligan complained about the condition of the floor?
When I looked over the counter, like to check?
No, after the accident, when Ms. Mulligan came to you and said, and started looking around to see what she fell on or what she alleged she stumbled on, what did you see? Yeah,
sorry, and I didn't mean to laugh. It's not funny that it happened. When I looked, I went, okay, like, I mean, there was a little bit of glitter or dust, but it wasn't anything that anyone would trip over. Does that make sense?
Yes. Did you see any kind of what we would call a pile of dirt anywhere?
No. Sorry to interrupt. No, there was no pile.
So the question is twofold. First of all, in real life, when you were there, did you see a pile of dirt?
No.
Okay. And then later on, when you looked at the video, did you see a pile of dirt or debris?
No, and I would have seen it because that's part of my job to look for that. And I'd already cleaned something up earlier that I noticed.
Can you estimate for me or for us the amount of time, the number of times you walked through the area where Ms. Mulligan claims she fell or claims it was slippery within the hour before the incident occurred?
Within the hour?
Yes.
Oh, I'm always moving. 5-10 times.
In that same area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you would have walked through there, and if you had seen something, would you have swept it up?
Oh God, yeah, I'm the goody two shoes. Even being here is nerve wracking. I don't like even thinking about getting in trouble. So yes, I absolutely would have cleaned it up. I cleaned up another pile earlier that day.
Right. And you saw in the video where you were actually sweeping things into the to a dustpan, correct?
Correct.
Did you see in that video where you never emptied out the dustpan, and when you came to the scene afterwards to do your sweeping, that dirt was still in the dustpan?
Yes,
Okay, you saw that in the video?
I did. You can, it's amazing. You can still see it. It's like a black blob that's in there from earlier.
Okay. And we're going to show that through another witness, but you did any other customers that day complain of the condition of the floor in the area where Ms. Mulligan says she slipped?
No, and there was a customer right before her who was in that same area and looked perfectly fine, even on the video that I watched.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I have nothing further.
Okay, do we have any recross, Ms. Hayes?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we're done with this witness now?
Yes,
Yes,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Hayes, do we have any further witnesses for the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor. At this time, the plaintiff rests.
Okay, very good.